Do you ever wish that showing up felt easier? Because despite you thinking positively and trying to tell yourself to just push through and get it done, it feels really, really hard and maybe even just a little bit scary. If so, then today's episode is for you. In today's episode, I'm sharing with you my 3 favorite energy clearing practices to make showing up feel easier. My name is Tertia. This is Feminine Embodiment for Spiritual Business Owners, and it is a show where I teach you how to be more confidently visible, how to claim your feminine power for success, and how to work in more embodied ways as you grow your business. I've been having quite a lot of conversations lately with women who time and time again end up saying the same thing. And that is they desire to create content. They desire to show up. They desire to connect with their audience. But somehow it feels like something which is very scary and very difficult to do. And when they sit down to create, or when they pick up that microphone or turn on the camera, it's like they hit a blank. And they feel exhausted all of a sudden. Everything that they want to say just flies out of their head, and it feels like a mountain that they need to climb. Something interesting that I've noticed is it doesn't really matter how much experience you have or how often you have shown up before, whether it's recording an episode like this or whether it's going live. Sometimes we bump into edges where it just feels like something which is really, really hard. It happens to all of us. Recently, I had an experience like that. And the key here is we need that little burst of adrenaline to keep us on our toes and to help us express more clearly, but we don't want to be swamped by fear. And so finding a way to not force yourself and push through, because that's not going to land with your clients, but instead a way where you are resourced and then can show up as that best version of you is, in my mind, the best option. And these 3 energy clearing practices that I will share with you now is going to do exactly that. So without any further ado, let's dive in. The very first practice that you can use to help clear your energy so that showing up feels a lot easier is a somatic release, and I just call it shake it out. Now, whenever we are in a situation where we're feeling tense or stressed out or nervous about something, our bodies literally become tense. And in that tensing up and in that constricting, it's like you are trapping your energy, your personality, your life essence, the full expansion of who you are. It's like you're trapping it in a hard little ball. And so it's very difficult to, from that place, feel free to express. But not only that, it's very difficult to connect with anyone else if you are a hard, tense little ball. And it doesn't matter if this is in person or if we are doing it over the interwebs like I'm doing it with you in this episode. So we want to expand and relax our bodies and get rid of that tension so that we can still maybe have a little bit of nervousness and excitement, but not this tension that really holds us back and stops you from taking action and showing up in the way that you want to. And so what we do here in this somatic shake, we use the natural intelligence of our bodies. When you look at animals in the wild, when they are under a stressful situation, for example, being chased by a lion and they get away, as soon as the danger has passed, they literally stand up and they shake themselves off. And 5 seconds later, they go and eat a little bit of grass. Now, that shaking is literally their body's natural mechanism to release stress. And us as humans, we have the same ability and the same mechanisms, but our brain functions and our keep your pose, don't let anybody see you're afraid, just pretend that you're strong, bite down and push through it. What that tends to do is it shuts down this natural ability that we have to let the fear and the tension move through us and out of us. If you want to know more about this phenomena and how it works, I can highly recommend that you read Dr. Peter Levine's book, Waking the Tiger. He is the creator of somatic experiencing, And I have learned a lot from his work in terms of how we can use this natural intelligence of our body to move tension through us. So how do you do it? Well, it's really very, very easy. You literally shake. Now, if you are listening to this episode on the podcast, maybe you want to hop over to my YouTube channel and watch it there. I'm moving a lot more than what I usually do. I'm shaking my hands next to my body, just tapping my plants in the process. And you don't have to only shake your hands. You can literally shake your whole body, but shaking your hands is enough. Any kind of shaking and movement just to get that tension out of your body, just to unlock this energy and the stress that's being held up so tightly. And here is a bonus tip for you. If you've had a very long day at work, for example, where you might have been deeply involved with connecting with clients or sitting behind the computer, and you know how often at the end of such a stressful, hard work day, you feel like you're a little bit floating and you can't really come down to the ground and connect with your family or disconnect from what happened in the office that day. If that ever happens to you, try this shaking, this somatic release, and see what a difference it makes. It really allows your energy to flow. There goes the plant again. It allows your energy to flow more freely through you. So that's the first practice. The second energy clearing practice that you can use to make showing up feel easier is to expand the energy that you have surrounding you, is to allow yourself to take up more space. So here is a little test for you. Go ahead and close your eyes, but don't do this if you're driving. And what I want you to do is to notice if you can feel where your body ends. Notice where you can feel the clothes pushing against your skin. Maybe you can even feel where your skin ends. And then once you have that, see if you can extend that awareness a little bit further. See if you can notice how big or how small you are feeling in this moment. And there's no right or wrong way that you need to feel big or small. Just notice where you are right now. And then when you have that, see if you can let yourself take up a little bit more space. See if you can expand the space and stretch out the boundaries of the space that you are already occupying right now. And then just notice how that feels in your body, how that feels in your energy, and notice what that does to how confident you are feeling. There is a direct relationship between how much space you are taking up and how confident you feel. I noticed this when I was doing presentation skills training. And even though the students all had the same amount of time to prepare for their presentations and they all received the same training, there was still a difference when they stood up to deliver their final presentation. And it had nothing to do with the words or how clever they sounded, but it literally had to do with the presence that they had while they were standing there and speaking to us. And the ones who were more confident in themselves, who took up more space, they felt more charismatic, they felt more magnetic, and it was easier and more enjoyable to listen to them. So this is a very, very helpful skill that we can learn whenever we are engaging, whenever we are talking about our work, whenever we are marketing and expressing in our businesses. If you can allow yourself to take up more space, even on sales calls, to take up space and to really own the space that you are in, that confidence, that sense of rootedness, whoever we are engaging with, whoever we are speaking with, their nervous systems will resonate with that. So whenever you are finding yourself nervous and tense and stressed out and feeling like showing up is hard work, what you are automatically going to do is you are going to pull your energy closer to yourself. You're going to make yourself smaller. This is just a natural and normal protection mechanism that our very wild and wise bodies have, because if you are small, then the predators most likely won't see you. And so we want to flip this on its head and actively and consciously learn to expand our energies, allow ourselves to take up more space. And as with anything that we practice, at first it's a conscious act. You have to put attention to it. You have to maybe effort at it a little bit. But the more that you practice it, the more skilled you become, the easier it becomes, until it eventually flips into something which is unconscious that you can do without even thinking about it. If this is resonating with you and you know that this discomfort and fear of being seen maybe goes a little bit deeper than only surface level, I want to invite you to a workshop that I'm hosting. It's called Make Visibility Easier. The information to register and join us is down in the description below. And this is for you if you know that you need to show up, you even deeply desire to show up and be confident, but it's something that you hate doing and it feels really, really hard. This workshop is going to support you to shift that pattern and step into that version of you that finds showing up easier, pleasurable, and profitable. And so let's now talk about the third practice that you can do to clear your energy so that showing up feels easier. And this is to root into safety. Now, you would have noticed a common thread throughout these practices that I've shared with you, and that is whenever we are feeling exposed, as in someone is going to see us for who we really are, we need to express our own opinion, we need to be seen and heard, and this is perhaps something that fills us with fear for whatever reason, and because we are wondering what's going to be the consequences if somebody actually sees us for who we truly are. It's a vulnerable position to be in. And so it's important for you to root yourself into safety, to let yourself feel safe to be who you are and to express from the full spectrum of who you are. So this third practice is going to allow you to do exactly that. And again, it is very simple. So go ahead and close your eyes. And the reason I ask you to close your eyes is simply because it's easier to turn your awareness inwards. When your eyes stay open, then it's easy to get distracted by everything that's around you. And the language of our body and feeling your own energy, it's very subtle and it's very soft. And so at the very beginning, at least, when you are starting to develop this sensitivity to your body and the 4 dimensions of your body, closing your eyes makes it easier to really tune into the feelings and the sensations that are there. And so go ahead, close your eyes if you haven't already done so. And I want you to feel your body where it is sitting, in the chair, on the floor, in the furniture, wherever you are, and feel yourself heavy where you are there. And perhaps you can even allow your breath to exhale a little bit slower, and let your breath, as your breath goes out of your body, let yourself feel even heavier. And then I want you to imagine that there are roots growing out of your feet, out of your bum, wherever you're sitting. It doesn't really matter, but imagine that you have got roots growing out of you and growing into the earth. Now, I love to imagine that I am rooted like a willow tree. It's my most favorite tree in the world, and a willow tree has roots that go wide. And so it spreads, and as it finds water and as it finds sustenance, it's really strong and rooted into the ground. If you've ever seen a willow tree, even when there is a storm outside and it's very windy, the tree sways in the wind, and the leaves and the branches have this beautiful dance working in the wind without breaking. And this is what we want to do as we root into safety, is be deeply and strongly rooted and allow ourselves to still flow and be flexible. And as you do that and you imagine these roots, I'm curious, what do you notice? How does that feel? Do you notice a difference? Often when that fear of being seen, this fear of being visible is activated in our nervous systems and in our bodies, what it tends to do is it pulls us out of our bodies and into our heads. So we send our energy and our awareness outwards and we start scanning for danger. This is a normal and very helpful and healthy reaction of our bodies. But obviously, if you're running a business and you need to show up, this is something that is not so desirable in the moment. And so again, these practices that can allow us to feel safe in our bodies, that can allow our energy to expand in the way that we want to, and keep our energy down and rooted so that we can stand sovereign and confident in our own voice as we are being heard, is invaluable. These practices that I've shared with you are going to help you on 2 levels. If you are having a day where it's just really difficult for you to get started and difficult to take action because you're feeling scattered or all over the place, or perhaps you're feeling really, really nervous, these practices can help you come back to yourself so that it's easier for you to show up. And over the long run, if there are deeper, more underlying things that is keeping this fear of being seen in place, doing these practices begins to crumble those patterns from where they are locked into your nervous system and where they are locked into your energy body. So whether you choose to shake or to expand or to root yourself, I hope that you find these practices really, really helpful. I'd love to hear from you how they work for you. So send me a DM or send me an email. I always adore hearing from you. Remember to sign up for that workshop. The link is going to be down in the description. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.